right, so today's video is an interesting one. We're going to be watching a Champion 5 tank on Xbox, playing Mauga and Orisa on Rialto. So what's interesting about this game is I don't think we've ever done a spectating champion game. It's very rare to get a champion VOD. So they say, hey, emongg, I'm currently Champion 5, #1 on leaderboards on console. I was GM1 during this replay. The range was GM3 to Champion 4. This game, I felt my Tracer was simply not getting any value, and our Kiriko was always first picked. Kind of an unfortunate game, but I am also really bad at Orisa and could definitely use some tips. Hoping to get Champion 4 soon. Okay, let's see. Like I said, I don't know what to expect, with games like this and how it plays out, but let's see how it is and go from there. All right. Okay, so you're on Mauga. You're playing, kind of halfway up right now. This is pretty good. This is normal. So far, I'm fine with how you're approaching this. Obviously, as Mauga, you want to take away a little bit of the map control, but you definitely need to pay attention to the Doom. I think this is kind of you're playing this correct, and I want to explain this, and I know you probably know this, but I think it's good for people to know. There's going to be a difference. Why do you play this corner, and why do you play this corner, right? That's the discussion here. And the reason why you play this corner here is because of the tank they have. If they have a Doom Fist, right, you have a lot more opportunity to control the space here. So if they have a Sigma, a Ramatra, etc., an Orisa, you can't really play this angle as much because you end up in a corner right here, right? Do you see this? What happens is you eventually can get grinded down. If they're running the Doom Fist, they don't have that tank that can really sit there and face tank. So this Doom eventually has to get over here to get that full value or hit an amazing punch that puts the BAP over here or something. But the way that you're playing this right now is correct in the sense that you're taking away the space. But I wanted to show that for everybody watching spectating because it's super helpful to understand why and when to push this corner. If they have a tank that isn't able to be with the team or frontline, you can be a little bit more aggressive here. If for some reason they have a mirror tank or etc. like I mentioned, you could stay here, but you need to be playing the corner very tightly and then make sure you're backing up to here before they do anything to you. Otherwise, you can get isolated here or get pushed back here, and then you just fall over. I did want to showcase that, and why it's good that you're pushing up here, and for people, in any rank can also learn from that, which is important. But this is the correct play for now. Yep. And you can see the Doom struggling to get through there. Okay, you're starting to see they're getting up there. You're looking at the Tracer. Be careful of getting punched in. It won't matter as much because of the tank passive, but you can be displaced here, so be careful of that. Can't do anything about that. That's just sniper versus sniper. Sniper hits a shot. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of a theory on this one. You had option 1A and 1B here, and you went with option 1B. Option 1A here is actually don't peel for that Doom, go into the backline and trust that your teammates can hold this. And what you end up doing is ended up staying here and dealing with their Widow. And you could actually clutch this team fight out enough because look at your Tracer. You have a Tracer going backline. There's a chance you can actually trade out here. So my opinion is that once the Widow got the pick on your Ashe, try to trade out here or at least play the corner here. It doesn't mean that this is necessarily a bad play. And that's why I said it's a 1A, 1B type of thing. But if I had to make a choice and it was really quick, I'd probably just try to trade backlines. And the reason why you trade backlines is even if you lose the team fight, if you kill 2 here, by the time your teammates are coming back and you regroup, you have a very safe retake. When you only get the Doom kill here, right, and nothing else gets traded on, now this Widow can take more map control. This Ana and BAP can set up, and that's why you would kind of do that. Yeah, and you get the cart would stop here exactly if you're playing from here. The good news is you were decisive, right? And I talk about this with any rank, whether it's bronze or champion. Decisiveness is going to get you more wins in Overwatch. So regardless your play was decisive here, what I want to show is that the other option here is to go backline. I will say the trade and backline thing is definitely more of an Overwatch 2 thing. You would do it sometimes in Overwatch 1, but peeling was way different. You would peel a lot more because of when you had the second tank. So head back here. You're going to end up falling back here. And this goes back to what we talked about where, the cart too. You're going to fall back now and you're fine, but then the cart is also moving at the same time, so they're getting free card value, which is why you try to aim for those trades. I want you to be careful here. I think you were really concerned about getting back to the cart. I just don't want to see you get headshot by the Widow and fall over. But you're fine. It worked out and you got the map control. I just think you had a little bit more time. You're good though. Like I said, not playing bad at all by any means. This is a tough one. I can't really... So, chat, you're wondering why the Mauga couldn't push here. The problem is that, their team's playing very aggressive. So, you kind of need to end up here, and it sucks because as a Mauga or an Orisa, you want to play corners, right? The Widow's going to have these interesting sight lines. I actually think you end up here, you deny this from happening. At the same time, I'm just being a little bit more over, I'm over analyzing it a little bit. just to show you that, like, probably don't win the team fight, but don't be afraid to use the middle part of cart as cover, because you can eventually just go left side here. And left side allows for a little bit more survivability, a health pack if you take some shots. But yeah, there's probably no win in that. I just think maybe try to go for the center part of the cart there. I don't think this is really a teammate issue so far. If you really sit back and look at the team fights you've lost, what's happened? What are the 2 team fights you've lost? You've lost 2 team fights. So far, you know what you lost to? A Widow hitting shots. That's it. You mentioned your teammates, but like truthfully, their Widow is just popping off. The first team fight, your teammate got picked off by a Widow, 4v5, can't do much after that point. Second point, you get headshot by a Widow twice, you can't get back to a good retake, you end up getting rolled. The Widow is causing a lot of that pressure. So in this situation, if I'm getting rolled by a Widow, my mindset is like, okay, what dive tank can I go right now to help against this if this doesn't work? That's the first thing I'm thinking of here, because that's where the problem's starting, is their Widow is just creating so much space with just the shots and damage alone. So, anyway. You got your ultimate here. Don't be afraid to use your emongg ultimate. I think you know that, obviously. Yeah. Point it out again. I want you to look at the kill feed. This isn't your Tracer being bad. This is a Widow hitting shots. I want people to remember that, because it can be really frustrating sometimes when, like, you look at the scoreboard and your teammate is 2-4 or something, and you're like, damn, like, why is their DPS 10-1? But the problem is, if their Widow's hitting shots, that's why. It's not like your Tracer's running at them going, hey, can you just get a free kill on me? It's like, no, their Widow is just popping off. Like, but I wanted to show you that was the 3rd team fight in a row where the Widow starts off, and you just can't. That's where the problem is right now. Right, that Widow, like, I mean, look at that. That's just a Widow hitting shots. And now, people are like, hey, should you have ulted that? I think what you should have done is when you got on the high ground there, the moment you saw any opportunity of one of them playing aggressive, just pop your ultimate and get a free kill. Only downside is if you pop your ultimate on the top of the stairs, they might be able to drop down below and survive. But I think being a little bit more proactive with your ultimate is probably good there. So, there's the Widow gets. Again, I want to point out to you, the Widow got the first pick. So right now, if I'm analyzing this match, I'm going, okay, the Widow is where the picks are happening, and everything else that happens after that is because we're at a disadvantage, right? And it hasn't been the same person picked off either. Hey, there's the Widow. There you go. You found the Widow. And you win a team fight. Yep. Here we go. This is fine, by the way, and I want to pause because people are going to be like, hey, is the Mauga playing too aggressive? And I want to reiterate why the Mauga is fine for now here. The reason why you play here is because you're denying that space from the Widow. And the idea is that they have to look at you. The problem is if they don't look at you, right? But your idea here is that you can also charge out. You can use your ultimate if they get too aggressive, and it creates like a crossfire for your teammates. The setup of the Mauga here is fine because Mauga is one of the few heroes that can escape out. Remember, when you charge away or you run away, you have some damage reduction there too, right? So you're probably going to survive. This setup is fine, but what I don't want you to get stuck at is letting this Widow get the sight line. Again, I want you to see this. Like, their Widow is just sitting here at this sight line, right? And where are you at this point? Again, this is why I try to, whenever I'm playing ranked, is try to figure out where their team's strength is, not necessarily where the weakness is happening on our team. You need to find a way to try to take away some of this space from that Widow. And I don't care if that means that as Mauga, you play an angle like this to start shooting at the Widow. Like, you can go like right here, right? And start pop shot in the Widow. But that should start to become more of your concern for a little bit, is start to make that Widow feel a little bit more pressure. Obviously, if this BAP ends up in front of you, you go for the BAP kill. But when you don't have any kills to be able to deal with, the Widow is going to be your next step here. And you need to make sure they're getting pressured. If this Widow isn't getting pressured, your teammates are going to still struggle. I've had plenty of games where a Widow starts off strong, and as a tank player, I start to focus more on that Widow, and that Widow swaps. And you go, well, yeah, now they're on Cassidy, though. It's like, yes, but what I've done is I've now created more of a strength for my teammates because what was working for them now isn't going to work anymore. And it's now on the other team to go and make the next play. But you haven't got to the point yet of forcing the other team to go make the next play. And that's what you need to get them to in these type of scenarios. Like right now, you're not even looking at the Widow when you're getting out, right? But that Widow still has that sight line. Great pick by your BAP. That should give you some opportunity to hold this for a bit. But anyway, you said, is Widow really a threat on console? I don't think, I'm going to be real with you. I don't know if you just joined. This Widow has been dominating the lobby so far. Right now, the Widow is the reason why the point is on is where it's at. That's it. Right? Now, granted, the other team could have made plays eventually, right? But the Widow is the reason why the game has gone how it has. The Widow got 3 team fights in a row with the first pick, and then they got snowballed. That's what happened. Straight up. There you go. Perfect. Now your teammate gets a pick. Okay. Notice anything about the team fight? You didn't lose the team fight right now. Everything's fine. Again. See? Now they swapped it. This is a good ult swap, by the way. If you're gonna ult, you need to do it like ASAP, because it's also gonna help your teammates. If you don't, like, it's gonna be... So let's talk about this very quickly. Your mindset is if you use your ultimate there, you don't have follow-up, and then save your ult. I don't know. This is a tough one, because I was really happy with your, like, how decisive you were earlier. I don't know. This is a tough... I say you just send it, because they just swapped to Sigma. You have a couple teammates nearby, and they're in a very weird spot. Okay, here's my take. I'd rather see you send that and be like, okay, that wasn't the play, than for you to kind of just have to back up and come back with your ultimate. Now, granted, you could come back and save it, and it makes sense, but I'm okay with keeping the map control there. And that's also going to give your other teammates time. So we'll see. Anyway, keep in mind, you not Mauga ult in there is not the full issue. Your whole team has a bunch of ultimates. So this is more of a... Your teammates are playing a little bit more safe with their ults. The other team is willing to just make plays over and over again. I mean, I watched their BAP run right past you and pop a window on the bridge on first point, right? That's a team who's willing to make more aggressive plays. Yeah. That's just fine. Yeah. Good ult. There you go. Good ult retake. It's Spic. Get in the Widow. Yep. This is the correct play. And again, let's just point out that was still a fine choice. Yeah, you know, there's a 1A and a 1B. I'm just talking. I'm telling you about the whether it's 1B or 1A. I'm giving you the other option in those situations. Doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong, but I think it's good to know the multiple options you have in those situations. Tune. Now this is where you're on Orisa. This is fine for now. Yep, you're doing the right play. This is correct. Getting on the Sigma is actually correct now. And the reason why you're doing that is because you can displace the Sigma. Ever play Sigma against an Orisa? If Orisa gets up in your face, you're displaced the whole time. This is the correct decision, too, to make sure they don't get it early picks. You said you struggle on Orisa? Listen, just about playing corners in your cooldown management. Buy as much time as you can on your gold to use it. Displace them as much as you can. Minimize damage you take. You're probably in a good spot. You don't even have to worry about Widow anymore. Also, Violet Ashes, thank you for the 21 months of the Prime sub. Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks. Nope. Too far up. I'm letting this play happen, but I want to show you something in a minute here. Okay. I'm going to pause because I don't know if the team fight's going to be done here or not. I'm going to show you the sequence here, okay? This is what happens. You end up pushing up here. Now, the problem is that your cart's all the way back here now. Believe it or not, one of the most advantageous spots of this map is right here. You can play the choke. They have to go through small doorways. It's a really difficult spot. It's hard to get through there regardless if they have ultimates or not. The only ultimate that's going to save them is Bob. And guess what? They just switched to Ashe. Unless this Ashe pops off, which I mean, I guess they could, right? But they're not, look at this. They can't even see right now. Their hats is covering their eyes. So the point I'm making here is that ideally you could have just sat here. I'm not even joking. You could have sat here and been just fine. And you're like, yeah, like they kill my Kiriko first, etc. I call this the domino effect of rank. It started with how you played this, which led to everything else happening. Not because your teammates played it badly. So you start here. You're like, okay, I'm in a safe spot. Problem is you stayed here for too long. You had to use all of your cooldowns to get all the way back to here. Your teammates had to use all of their cooldowns to help you survive. They used a lamp. Literally a lamp to keep you alive there. You use your javelin spin, your gold. Like, look at your cooldowns right now. You just got your gold back up after all this time. You had to use all these plays, and that's the domino effect that happened. So you can get mad at your Kiriko for getting picked off first, but what really started this was you playing a little bit too aggressive. And I don't want you to stray away from being aggro. I want you to understand that aggression into backing up to advantageous spots is what you need to do in these situations. So when you're up there close to the bridge, I get what you're doing, but you need to back out of there before they can get anything on you. Otherwise, you're going to fall over, and that's what happened. Now your teammates are obligated to pop every single ability. If you just stay here, none of that's happening. Now the Sigma ults, your teammates have both Suzu and Lamp. You're fine. You have cooldowns. You disrupt their whole play. Heck, you might even be able to stop the Sigma ultimate with just a really well-placed Javelin. That's why I always say you can focus on these things rather than focusing on, oh, their BAP killed my Kiriko first. Yeah, okay. Yeah, your problem on Orisa is you're just not playing corners. I'm telling you right now, you play corners and you just play to be a statue, you're gonna be just fine. Also, as somebody who plays a lot of Sigma, let me ask you this question. And we're gonna let the rest of this play through because I think the team's gonna win on the other side. Let me ask you this question. If you're playing Sigma and you watch the Orisa's reaction as the javelin spin out of their first cooldown, if I'm playing that, I'm going, okay, thank you, Orisa, because now not only am I going to be able to rock you during your javelin spin because you don't have gold, now you have to use gold after I stun you, so I get 2 cooldowns basically taken out of you for 1, and you're just going to fall over. So if I'm playing against a good Orisa, they just kind of play really annoying on the corner, and they just kind of build up their ultimate eventually and go in, and that's when they get aggressive. But you're trying to do a little bit too much. You're playing well. Mechanically, it's fine, and you make good decisions. I'm just showing you that there's multiple pathways to those decisions. Okay, so you're on Orisa again. Corners are your best friend in these situations. Kiriko gets picked off there by the Ashe. Good pick by the Ashe. I don't know what happened to your Kiriko. Corners. Turn around now, javelins. Yeah, yeah. You did the right. I'll be real with you. In hindsight, you probably don't javelin spin the way that you did, but I had the exact same idea that you had. The moment I hear a Sigma behind me, I'm trying to displace them. I guess what you could do here is maybe give it like a 1/10 of a second and wait to see where the Sigma is and then displace the Sigma, but you had the right idea. That's why I even suggested javelin spin, is because like that is, if there's a Sigma behind you, you can displace them easily, but the Sigma did a good job of kind of avoiding the area you were at, so you don't really like Orisa into Sigma. I think it depends on how the player plays Orisa too, though, right? Like, for example, if you're playing Orisa more of like, hey, I'm just playing Orisa occasionally, and like, I think you're not going to have the same aggression. I don't, as a Sigma player, playing against a really aggressive Orisa, I mean, you probably know it too, is like, it can be rough sometimes if you're playing aggressive, but right now this is, the way that you're playing Orisa is you're trying to do too much. And I know that sounds dumb, but that's your problem. Just play corners, time your cooldowns, and you're gonna be fine. Like going on the left-hand side there to try to go for a kill, fine, but you need to play that corner even more tight. And you need to be able to back away the moment you even see them look at you, right? And that's like the problem you run into. Now, I mean, listen, yeah, there's gonna be other tank suggestions, etc. here, but I think like a lot of what they wanna do is still get better at Orisa. Orisa is clearly, if anybody hasn't seen where Orisa's at right now, and obviously this could change with the mid-season patch, Orisa's being played a lot right now. So you're getting a lot of Orisa comps, and a lot of people are asking for Orisa, especially if people are scrimming and stuff. Again, what's the problem here? You're in the middle of the open. Like, okay, you know what? Let's rewind just a little bit here. I want you to see something here. If I am playing BAP, and this is what I see from an Orisa, I am going, holy crap, this is going to be an easy kill for me. Or at least at the very least, this Orisa's in a very bad spot. This is why corners are so important. Where you should be is like right here, right? Or right here. You're poking from an angle, you're being annoying to their supports, but you have survivability, right? If you really want to, have some fun, go here. You create off angles. Go up here. But if you go into the middle of the open, and again, this is something I've had to learn myself too, they're going to do exactly what they do. Watch this. Watch this BAP, okay? You use javelin spin in front of the BAP, look at your positioning, and look where you go. Where's your cover? Where's your cover right now? How could your Kiriko help you stay alive here? How can your BAP help you stay alive? Even if they have to use Suzu or Window, you already used your javelin spin for no reason. I just want to keep reiterating to you. Less is more on Orisa. Good cooldown usage and good positioning is how you're going to win these games. If you do things like this is what's going to happen. The BAP sees you, free kill almost. I mean, not even almost, a free kill, and now your teammates are down on Orisa. And you can focus on, oh, they pick my Kiriko off, or this and that. But these are the things that you can fix to keep improving. And you can always improve. Remember that. Like, don't get me wrong. You like you said, you hit rank 1, all that stuff. That is really good. You can always clean some stuff up about your gameplay, and it's something I always try to do. Even like, like my div is pretty good nowadays, but I can still always get better at div. So. This is correct temporarily, but yep, the playing in the middle and jumping around, I know this strategy very well. Good pick by your Tracer. I'm going to talk about this in a second. Okay, so I want to show you something here on a timing. Your teammate gets a kill. Now's your time to be aggressive. You're up on high ground, your teammate gets a pick. My reaction at that point would be, do I have a cooldown? Yes. What you do next is you take away some of the map control. And what that does is that can kind of help with alleviating some of the pressure their team's going to put on after getting picked off. So what you would do is you would play close, you move up, you look where they're at, you start to javelin spin this way, okay? Or you can just walk down this way. And what you're going to do at this point is if you start to walk down from this spot, well before any of this happens and you end up here, this Zenyatta is going to ult a little bit sooner. This Tracer is going to peel back. Now what that does, before any of your teammates die, it opens up the rest of the map, right? Your teammates are dead, but you would have been fine after that. Even if you lose one, you're going to force these out 2 seconds quicker. That 2 seconds is make or break in this situation. As a tank, sometimes you need to be ready to make that reactionary play if your teammates make a play. Unfortunately, you waited a little bit longer. Your teammates end up kind of falling apart there. But again, this is where you can make or break that situation. And I've dealt with this a ton as a tank too, and I still... But there's one thing I need to work on tanking too sometimes is that exact situation. Is like, okay, we have a pick. I don't want to feed, but I need to do something to create space, right? That's where you would do that. Get stuck, and then you go again. Guess you're getting full health? Yeah, I would imagine so based off of what I'm seeing. Swapping ball to go to point, and this is fine. But again, like, look what you did. You went in the middle of the open. You know what I mean? Okay, we won't talk about the wrecking ball. Don't worry. I do this too. Yep. You're clearly very good. Your problem is you're just trying to do too much. Less is more. Play corners. Play walls. Think about your cooldowns. And also, something that could really help is recognize what the problem is. Sometimes players will look at their teammates right away. My Tracer's 2 and 4. My Ashe is 2 and 5. But sometimes what you don't look at is why are my teammates falling over? And I think when you pick that up sooner, I think you have a much better second point. Recognizing, okay, we need to take care of that Widow. We need to stop this Widow from getting early picks every team fight. Whether that's shooting some pop shots across the map as Mauga, right? Enough to make the Widow have to think twice about, wide peek in a corner and just killing your teammates. Things like that, those adjustments are going to be really good also. I think if you can make those type of changes, I think you'll see some good results. Less is more in Orisa. Play corners. Take advantage of the picks your teammates get. Recognize why your teammates are falling over and focus more on that and how to fix that. And then you're going to have good results, okay? Like the video if you haven't. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. Leave a comment. All of it helps. And if you want to watch more of these spectatings, all that stuff, I got a box right here. It's going to show you more. Hope you all have an amazing day/night.